How to headstand. Before you practice the headstand, make sure you've practiced a warm-up yoga flow ahead of time. Then when coming to the mat, you can choose to support yourself against the wall, or you can go without the wall, which is the way that I will be presenting it with you today. Know that when you do come in and out of your headstands, sometimes it's not always the way that you would have intended to. So you're either going to tuck and roll to kind of somersault out of it, or ensure that you have one of your feet that's going to land at the back of your mat to help support you and guide you on your way out. So there are two different hand placements for the headstand, and some of it looks like a little tripod. So there's always going to be 3 connecting points to create your strongest foundation. Your head is always going to be one of those points, and it will create the top of your equilateral triangle. So think back to school, equilateral triangle, equal distance from one another. So I figured out that my head is going to go right here on my mat, and I need to make an equilateral triangle from here. So if my head's going to go there, I can place my hands at a distance that is, shoulder width apart, and then I will place the crown of my head at the top of this triangle to create it against the floor. Now, alternatively, you've probably seen people do it with the interlace, which does require a lot more of your core work. And I do prefer that one because it helps strengthen those abdominal muscles so that you can come up unassisted. So that one here, let me move a little bit closer to the camera, will require an interlace from you. So you're going to interlace your fingers here. If you'll notice, I take that pinky one and I wrap it right underneath. So then there's like more of a flat surface to land on rather than teetering on a little pinky there. So here is my equilateral shape. There's the same distance between my hands up here down to my elbow, across to my other elbow, and all the way up. So there's the equilateral triangle, or it's going to be hands and crown of your head. The crown of your head is the very top point of your head, and that's what's going to be landing on the mat, and it needs to be the top portion of your head so that you can push through that and elongate through the back of your neck. So let's try what most people enjoy, the tripod variation, where the tuck and roll is the greatest thing to use if you're feeling like you're going to fall out. So you'll place your head at the top edge of the mat or a few inches away from the wall. Your hands will create that triangular shape to support you as you rise up. Spread wide through your fingers, curl your toes, and pick your hips up off the ground. Here's where you'll start pressing into the crown of your head to create a long sensation throughout the back of your neck. As you walk your feet in, you could rest one knee on the back of the elbow, followed by the other knee, lifting up through the toes. From supported, you'll want your tailbone to rise next. Lift up through the tailbone using the core as support. Knees can come together. Now, depending on how you'd like to go, you can extend up through one leg and then through the other. To come down, typically not the tuck and roll, but if we can, place one knee back down and lower the leg. Lower the leg, come to the knees, and roll all the way up. Now, the second variation that we have available is that interlaced variation. In this one, I'm going to pretend like I'm against a wall. So I'm going to have my head placed several inches away from the wall, interlace the fingers, but unstack the pinkies. Now I create almost a basket here with my hands, and that's going to hold on to the back of my head as I plant the crown of my head in between the hands. The elbows are going to press evenly into the floor as much as the hands are. As you plant your crown, curl your toes, lift up your hips. Just as we pressed into the head, press throughout the entirety of your forearms. Then you can start to walk in, lifting the tailbone already over the hips. Pick one foot up off the floor, trying to point the toes as high up as you can. A few little lifts to rise through the tail. And then you can start to ascend one leg, followed by the other. Returning down, maybe through the bean shape, or one leg at a time, before returning to knees and rising all the way up.